our information, and you'll find all of our pictures and information from previous, current, and ongoing events, as always, on those sites. So go Creek, stay classy.
Hey, you know what animals I like? Sharks and skunks.
That's great. No. Why don't you zip it?
Cheesy bird mess. What did you say? I have a cheesy bird mess? 3. He said 3, and I'm about to freak out. Just kidding, well done.
Won't stop it. You're like a dope thief. Clock with the chicken. Some of you are like, why are they playing this at church? That's not a good song. Today we're launching our new November series, Get Lucky, a series about relationships. In this series we're covering how our relationships should look like as Jesus followers based on what the Bible teaches about friends, family, dating, marriage, and yes, sex. And we're all talking about, instead of the culture's use of get lucky, we're talking about how you can get truly lucky, which is following God's plan, which is what is best for you, because God knows what's best for you, has a plan and a purpose for you. So we're using a little different of a usage of the phrase than the song uses it. But that's okay. First of all, we're going to do a little demonstration here, and I need 2 volunteers, preferably a guy and a girl. So the first guy and girl that's not my hand here wins. So the first guy's a guy and girl. Okay, you're the first guy, and I need 1 girl. And there we go. Okay, there's the girl. Okay. And so Michael, just head over by Michael. He's gonna. Anybody ever heard of a 3-legged race? Okay, they're gonna do a little 3-legged race competition here. So he's gonna tie their legs together, and guys, as he's tying that, just look up at me. So. Leah, Ben, look at me. So Ben, your wall is over there. Leah, your wall is over there. Okay, so we're going to place you guys in the middle in a second. We're going to switch the lights here. And then first person to get to their wall wins. Now they're tied tight together. Pretty tight, right guys? So follow Michael. Put your arms around each other. Put your arms around each other. There you go. It's like a team. You're like a team. You're a team. So follow Michael. So now you're not pulling against each other. Follow Michael. Follow Michael. Follow Michael. There you go. No, follow Michael. There you go. There you go. So here we go. We're gonna do a little demonstration here. So make sure you guys can see what goes on here. This is gonna be good. All right. At least this was rated 9. I don't know how it's gonna turn out here. We'll see. All right. We have to go. Okay. So you turn forward. So Ben, your wall's there. Leah, your wall's there. Okay. First person that gets to their respective wall wins. On your marks. Get set. Go. Well, you guys aren't working as a team very well. You're on the floor now. What happened? Keep going. Who's going to win it?
Keep going, guys. Come on.
This isn't working. So, you guys you're not teaming up very well.
Come on.
You're not partnering very well. Well, what's happening? This isn't working.
Make it your wall, guys.
Come on. They're going nowhere. Who thought the guy was going to win necessarily? No, because in middle school, a lot of girls are stronger than guys when you're in middle school. Yeah. Some guys. All right, I think we demonstrated. All right, good job, guys. good job. Time's up. Sorry, neither of you won, so you both failed. All right. So, that was an interesting demonstration. How good did they partner and team up together? No, that didn't work too well. Now, what was the only way that one of them was going to win? What was the only way? They're going to cooperate? One person had to give up and let the other person win. Right. So they don't both go down. But because neither of them did that, they both lost. It'd be better if at least one person won, right? So they both lost because they didn't team up together. All right. That's a little demonstration, little game. We're going to talk a little bit about that later in the message. All right. So, starting our Get Lucky series, like I said, we'll be talking about friends. Next week, Michael, our intern, will be up here talking about family, about how to effectively partner with your family and what God wants your relationship to be with your parents especially. So make sure you guys are here all the weeks of the series. It's going to be an awesome series. But today, to kick off Get Lucky, we're going to talk about friends. So write down friends. That's the name of the message today. Nice and simple. Friends. That's right. And we're going to jump right into it. Point number one is, your friends influence you. Shocker to some of you, but definitely true. Your friends influence you. So number one, J.High, your friends influence you. Look to your neighbor, J.High, and tell the person next to you, hey, your friends influence you. There you go, that's right. A recent scientific study of specifically middle schoolers, your age group, has proven that your friends influence you in several ways. We're going to go through them. According to the study, in elementary school, teachers and other adults are your primary influences. Raise your hand if you go to Valley View. Where's our Valley View crew at? All right, so Snohomish District, that's a majority of our students. Middle school doesn't start until 7th grade, so most of you guys just started middle school if you're in 7th grade this year. Last year, a lot of you were in elementary school. I know my Eco group guys, most of our Valley View guys, they were in elementary school just a few months ago. So you guys would agree with this. In elementary school, teachers and other adults are your primary influences with most people. But in middle school, which you all are now, your buds and BFFs take center stage. They become your primary influences in a lot of our lives. Yes, I know what BFF is. All right, middle schoolers whose friends are socially active, according to the studies, and don't make trouble in school, tend to get better grades. That's what the research showed. On the other side, students whose friends get into trouble a lot don't do as well in class. Maybe that's some of you in here. Maybe you have friends that get in trouble a lot, and they're starting to negatively affect your grades. Maybe you're getting in trouble now. You used to always be a really good student in elementary school. Now in middle school, because you're hanging out with students that are getting in trouble. Yes, I know this is related. I know, it's like Billy. It's like, what? Okay, yeah, focus. All right, but that's true. I mean, if you hang out with the wrong people, they start getting you in trouble. You guys know this. This is true. You don't need research to tell you this, right? What did this study show? Here's what this study showed, J.High. It's important who your friends are. It's important who your friends are. Make sure you write that down. As Jesus followers, which a lot of you are, you should be a leader, not a follower. I'm doing youth ministry for almost 10 years. And I get so tired of hearing that a lot of Christian students, Jesus followers students, they're the followers. It's like, no, you shouldn't be following non-Christians. You should be leading them towards Jesus. It's backwards. As Jesus followers, you should be a leader, not a follower, a servant leader, as we teach SLT. Being a servant leader. It's not about being a follower when you're a Jesus follower. So my question to you guys is this. Are you influencing others or being influenced by others? Are you influencing others or are you being influenced by others? Our first verse today, talking about what our friendships should look like as Jesus followers. In 2 Corinthians 6:14, it says this. Don't team up. And as I read this, keep in mind Millie and Ben with the three-legged race. Okay, keep that in mind. Don't team up with those who are unbelievers. How can righteousness be a partner with wickedness? How can light live with darkness? Just think back to that example, the three-legged race. Okay? Was that an effective partnership? No. Why? Because why wasn't it an effective partnership, J.High? Because they were doing what? Pulling in different directions. Yeah, they weren't working together. They were pulling in different directions. The exact same thing's the true according to 2 Corinthians 6:14. When you are partnering with people who aren't Jesus followers, if you're a Jesus follower. Exact same thing is happening. Why? Jesus is pulling you towards himself. Your unbelieving friends are being pulled towards Satan. Satan is pulling them towards himself, towards darkness and evil. Very clear passage of Scripture. How can light live with darkness? Who's light? You, if you're a Jesus follower. You have the Holy Spirit living within you. You have light within you. God's light within you. Who's darkness? People who don't know Jesus. Your friends who don't know Jesus. Righteousness, Jesus follower. Wickedness, non-Jesus follower. They don't work together. The verse is being very clear. Don't team up with unbelievers. Very clear. So what is this verse telling us? Number 2, J.High, write it down. Your best friends, underline best, your best friends should be Jesus followers. Your best friends should be Jesus followers. The people you hang with. Now let me make this clear. Preface this. This isn't a big problem in our church. Other churches have a lot of issues with this. Not so much with you guys, but I'm still going to preface it. In J.High, we want you to have friends who are not Jesus followers. For one reason, and one reason alone. So that you can tell them about Jesus. Period. Why do we want you in J.High to have friends who aren't Jesus followers? So you can introduce them to Jesus. Some of you aren't doing that. You're just hanging out with a non-Christian adult, and they're dragging you down with them. No, it's backwards. The one reason we want you guys to have friends, quotation marks, I'll tell you what the quotation marks are in a second. The reason we want you to have friends who are not Jesus followers is so you can tell them about Jesus. They need Jesus. They've got the illness, sin. You have the cure, Jesus. We want you to share it with them. Now, let me be clear here, J.High. When I say that we want you to have friends who aren't Jesus followers, this doesn't mean that you hang out with unbelievers. That's not what I'm saying here. I want that to be clear. Write that down. Write that down. I want you to have friends who are not Jesus followers so you can introduce them to Jesus. But this doesn't mean that you hang out with them. Ooh. No. For instance, I have over 1,000 friends on Facebook. Do you think I actually hang out with most of them? No. Of course not. Of course not. Why do I use that as an example? To say that you can be friends with people without hanging with them. Now, I would use this term, instead of friends, I would use the term acquaintances. I'm an acquaintance. I know those people on Facebook. I wouldn't really say I'm friends with them. Some people say they're friends. Okay. I would say it's an acquaintance. Some people use the circle analogy. You guys know the Target store? Right? Okay, imagine Target logo, the red thing, the red ring on the outside circle. That's your acquaintances. You don't really hang out with them, but you know them. You might call them your friends. You see them on the bus, you're right next to them, you talk to them, you know their name, you know where they live, and stuff like that. You're like, hey, how you're telling me about that video game. You know them, you talk to them, you interact with them, you sit with them at lunch, you sit with them in school, you talk to them in the lockers or on your sports teams. They're your acquaintances, though. You don't really hang out with them outside of that area, though. They're just your acquaintances or your outer circle friends. Okay, so that's outer circle friends. This is where your unbelieving friends should be. Friends that you don't know Jesus. We still want you to have friends or acquaintances who aren't Jesus followers, but they're your outer circle friends. You don't really hang with them. Okay, you know them, you're friendly with them, you interact with them, you talk to them, you have a relationship with them, but they're acquaintances, outer circle friends. That's what we're saying. We want you to have unbelieving friends in that circle. But the inner circle friends, the middle of the Target logo, inner circle friends, the people you hang with, the friends you hang out with should be strong Christians who help you grow in your faith. The center target, those should be your best friends. I tell my eco group guys, my 7th grade eco group guys, your best friends should be the guys in this eco group. These should be the guys you hang with, you hang out with. People are going to help you grow in your faith, not pull you away from it. Outer circle friends, if you hung with them, they're going to drag you away from Jesus. Inner circle friends should be all strong Jesus followers. They help pull you towards Jesus. J.High, do you see the difference? Outer circle versus inner circle? But many of you need to start using what's known as discernment and choosing your friends more wisely. This may mean not hanging out with childhood friends anymore. Friends that you've known for years, you grew up with. Your parents are friends. This may mean that you have to stop hanging out with some of those students. Even if you haven't admitted it, many of you have seen how some of your childhood friends have started to change for the worse recently. They're going to bad parties. They're starting to swear a lot, talk dirty all the time. Maybe using drugs, alcohol, maybe even sexual sins. Maybe they're getting involved in crime. That's common in middle school. People change in middle school. I talk to my 7th grade guys all the time. I'm like, yeah, I've hung out with that guy since I was a little kid, since I was in diapers, and yeah, he was always a really nice kid, and then this year all of a sudden, man, something different's happened with him, man, he's changed. You guys have seen this, you know this. You just haven't admitted to yourself. Stop lying to yourself. Be honest. They've changed. They're not the same person that I was friends with when I was younger. These things, when they're getting involved, when your friends that you grew up with are starting to get involved in stuff like that, these should be what are known as red flags. Red flag. Whoa, whoa. Red flags. Don't ignore the red flags. You have a friend that you've been growing up with for years, you've known him for years, really bestie friends, growing up, everything. They're now talking about, they're talking really dirty and using really bad language all the time now. You're like, man, whoa. A lot of people ignore that. Oh no, they're the same person. They lie to themselves. I'm saying stop lying to yourself. That's a red flag. That person has changed. And you can't save them. Only Jesus can save them. These should be red flags to you that you need to change your friends now. Not later. Oh, in high school, in a couple years, I'll stop. I won't hang out with them anymore. No. They're not influencing me now in middle school. Yeah, they are. That study shows it. The research and science shows that they do affect you. Some of you are thinking about that person. You know that you're saying their name in your head right now. That you need to cut off before they take you down with them. J.High, these relationships, that person you're thinking of in your head, that name you're thinking of, these relationships are dangerous to you and your faith in Jesus. They're dangerous to you. They're a threat to your salvation, your relationship with Jesus. So don't wait until it's too late. My mom was a lifeguard when she was younger, and she told me about when she had to go to lifeguard training. What would happen is the instructor would dive into the pool with clothes on and act like a person that was drowning. And the lifeguard, and they looked all calm out there in the water, and the lifeguard would dive in to go rescue them. And they're training, so they're new. Lifeguard's brand new. So they jump in to save this person, and when you have clothes on, you get really heavy. You start sinking to the bottom really quick. And the lifeguard jumps in, and what the instructor will start doing, she said, is that they'll start flailing around as soon as the lifeguard gets close. They'll start panicking, start lashing their heads, elbow them in the face, break their nose, scratch their face. They're freaking out. Ah, I'm drowning! Ah! They're kicking them. And what happens is the lifeguard has to learn to protect themselves, because if they don't, what's going to happen? They're going to go down. They're going to both go down. The person's going to drown the lifeguard, and that doesn't do anybody good if they both die. So lifeguards are trained to defend themselves, to grab around like this so they can't hurt themselves or hurt the lifeguard, and get them to safety. They're taught, don't let somebody take you down under. It's the exact same thing when it comes to middle schoolers and the people you hang out with. Don't let them take you down with you. Guys, you're not a little kid anymore. You're adolescents now. Choose your friends wisely. Before, when you were a little kid in elementary school, it was fine. I just hang out with him because he has cool shoes. Okay. So you got to start advancing a little bit more now. You're not little kids anymore. All right? You're not little kids anymore. Start choosing your friends much more wisely who you're hanging out with. Does that sound harsh? When we talk about cutting off relationships before they take you down with you? Sound harsh? Sure. But your relationship with Jesus is more important than anything or anyone else. And you need to defend it. So make it a priority, your relationship with Jesus. So middle schoolers, friends are everything to most middle schoolers. If you're a Jesus follower, which I hope most of you are, your friends shouldn't be everything to you. Jesus should be everything to you. And your relationship with him takes precedence over all else. Yeah, even if you have to cut off other relationships. Defend your relationship with Jesus first. Because guys, being a Jesus follower in middle school is tough enough. You know this. The last thing you need is to be hanging out with unbelievers who drag you down with them. And I see that in a lot of your lives. I hear about the people some of you are hanging out with. I'm like, oh my gosh, get some discernment. See the red flag. Stop ignoring the red flag. You need to cut yourself off from these relationships. They're dragging you down. And I'm so sick and tired of seeing this with my students. This is my 4th year here at Gold Creek. And I've seen so many students who walk through our ministry run away from Jesus when they graduate, or even some even before. Last year at Valley View's graduation service for 8th graders, I had Rachel take a tally, and she was writing down all the names that we recognized at one time went to Gold Creek, sat in the same seats you are. And we found that 50%, 50%, 1 out of 2 students who grew up in our church, by the time they graduated from 8th grade, had already walked away from Jesus in the church. I'm sick of it. And with a huge chunk of them, that was because that was the people they were surrounding themselves with. It was the people they were hanging out with. It wasn't because they weren't reading their Bibles or praying or didn't love Jesus. That wasn't why. With a big chunk of them, it was because of the friends they surrounded themselves with, the people they hung out with, that drugged them down. They took them down with them. I'm tired of seeing that, and I don't want to see that for any more students. All of you in here, I hope, my prayer is that in 4 to 6 years, when you're in high school, you're graduating from high school, you're still running for Jesus, and in high school, you start running for Jesus even harder than you are now. Don't become a statistic. So number 2, your best friends should be Jesus followers. And our last point today, number 3, our last verse today is 1 Corinthians 15:33. It says this: "Don't be fooled by those who say such things." For check this out. This is profound. Bad company corrupts good character. Let me say it again. Bad company corrupts good character. Who's bad company? Unbelievers. Corrupts good character. Who's good character? You as a Jesus follower. It corrupts. It becomes a cancer to your faith. The Bible's not in the gray area on this. It's very, very clear on who the people you surround yourself should be. Strong Jesus followers. So our last point is write down number 3, J.High. Where is your allegiance? Your loyalty. You know, who's your favorite sports team? That's your loyalty, your allegiance. Where is your allegiance? Your friends or Jesus? There will come a time when you have to choose between your friendship with unbelievers and your allegiance to Jesus. Who wins? They can't both win. They can't both win. Here's why. Jesus demands all or nothing. To be a Jesus follower is to put him first in your life before everything and everyone else. Jesus, I'll give you 90%. Jesus, I'll give you 99.9% of my life, but you got to leave me this one little thing, this one friend I hang out with. You got to leave me this one area. Run. To follow Jesus, to make him Lord of your life, means that he is number 1 in your life, before your friends, even before your own parents. Jesus is your number 1 priority in life. If you're a true Jesus follower. The Bible puts it very starkly when it talks about people who don't put Jesus as follower, who call themselves Christians. The Bible calls them lukewarm. They're neither hot nor cold for Jesus. They're in the middle. They're lukewarm. I don't know about you, but when you're trying to get a drink of water and you've been playing soccer or something in practice and you go to turn the thing on, you get it, you're like, oh, I hope it's cold. It's lukewarm. It's worse. I almost wish it was like hot water, because then it'd be like coffee or something, but this is just lukewarm. That's what Jesus is saying. And guess what? Just like I did when I was in soccer practice in high school, when I drank a lukewarm water, spit it out. And guess what? That's exactly what God says he'll do to people who call themselves Christians but are lukewarm. God says, I'll spit you out of my mouth. Pretty heavy language, but it's God talking. So we have to take it seriously. Jesus demands all or nothing. And while painful, if you don't sever, cut off, damaging friendships, those people that are dragging you down away from Jesus, you could lose your spiritual life. And like I said, I've seen this over and over and over with students who just a year or 2 ago were sitting in the exact same spot as you are and said, that would never happen to me, Pastor Adam. I'll never walk away from Jesus. And guess how they're living now? Living like hell. You're not living for Jesus anymore. So don't think it can't happen to you. Don't be so prideful to think that, well, I can hang out with all my best friends are non-believers, but I'm a strong Christian and I can handle it. Don't become arrogant and prideful like that. Because guess who are the people that are most likely to fall? The people that say, never me, I would never do that. I would never do that. Yes, we want you to have friends who are unbelievers, outer circle friends, the target logo, outer circle friends. Not hanging out with them. You're influencing them for Jesus. You're inviting them to encounter fests and merge nights. You're sharing the gospel with them at lunch. You're not hanging out with them, going over to their house though. Don't be that person that's like, oh, my friends are unbelievers. I don't really like Christians. I just like hanging around unbelievers. Because they will take you down with them. 99% of the time, they will be taken down with them. Remember Ben and Leah's demonstration, 3-legged race. Don't partner with them. It's not going to work. 9 out of 10 times, you're like, oh, I'm going to win them for Jesus. And I can hang out with them all I want. I'll be fine. I'm strong in my faith. But if all your friends are unbelievers, you don't have any strong Christian friends pushing you towards Jesus, 9 times out of 10, who's going to win that fight? The unbelievers. Absolutely. It's been famously said in different types of ways that if you drop a white glove in the mud doesn't become white, does it? No, what does the white perfect glove become? Muddy and covered in filth. Why do we say that? Who's the white glove? You as a Jesus follower. I can surround myself with unbelievers and hang out with them, go to their houses and hang out with them all day. And just because they're talking dirty about guys or girls and they're looking at those bad pictures and they're stealing from that store over there, they're stealing from Bartell's and they're doing this and this and this. Just because I hang out with them, I'm not actually doing it. I'm just trying to push them towards Jesus and be light in their dark world. And even though everybody else around me is always using that language and thinking bad thoughts and saying bad things and doing bad things, it won't happen to me. No, it won't happen to me. Take a white glove, drop it in mud. The mud doesn't become white. The glove is covered in mud. That's going to be you. If you continue hanging out with godless people, as some of you will. Some of you right here now are hearing God's truth, and it's going in one ear, out the other. We talked about it last month in our series, that's Satan blinding you from the truth. You're not paying attention right now. Right now, you're totally checked out. I could care less if Pastor M says it's great, and you're not going to have any change in relationships. But I hope most of you that hear this message, and you thought of that person that you know, maybe there's more than one person that you're hanging out with, that you know that Jesus doesn't want you hanging out with. I hope that most of you remember this, that if you continue hanging out with godless people, you will eventually become godless yourself. So in closing, godly friends lead you into the light, Jesus. Ungodly friends lead you into the dark. So I want you to write this down in closing day. Where are your friends leading you? The people you hang with. Where are your friends leading you? Towards the light or towards the dark? Close your eyes, bow your heads. Some of you are sitting here and you're not a Jesus follower. So you're like, I don't know what to do with this message because I don't really have a relationship. You're talking about a relationship with Jesus. I don't have a relationship with Jesus. What is that all about? Maybe you've never heard the gospel, the story of Jesus, on how the Bible says that we are all sinners. And that the penalty for sin is death, eternal separation from God and hell. That's what we all deserve. But the good news is that God the Father sent His only Son, Jesus Christ, down to earth as a baby. He literally became God with skin on. That was the first Christmas. He grew up to be a man. He was the only human to ever live a perfect, sinless life. He was not guilty. He's the only human that was not guilty because he never sinned. But Jesus decided that He was going to take the penalty that you and I deserve. And He died a painful, excruciating, humiliating death on a Roman cross. And He bled, and He suffered, and He died for you because He loves you. story doesn't end there. The Bible tells us on the third day, God the Father rose Jesus from the dead. And